live again today. Going back at it again with the underprivileged character. We're gonna play poor and do the side quests a bunch and explore, because that's what this game is all about, exploring. Except for all the buildings that are all boarded up. You can't explore those buildings. But you can explore other buildings. And, yeah, it's really good. I don't think I look good when I smile. Okay, alright, I'm gonna go to Sanctuary, and, I'm gonna go out the door, because that's what doors are for. Alright, I'm so stupid. Let me have to give out a right away. No, I don't. I have right X though. Alright, 4 stim packs left. Alright. We're gonna go see if we can, go do some stuff. I'm gonna come up with a topic too. I'm gonna actually, TV's played a big role in my life whenever I was younger. The fact that everything is portable now, I mean, or mostly everything can be portable now. It's kind of a testament to,
Thanks for the help.
right away. You can use it right away. But yeah, I've noticed that it's kind of a testament to how portable and how really cool things are now. Now how they're going to be in the future, because I think what is like what is the biggest testament to everything is that everyone is like a lot of people, not everyone, because that'll be like billions and billions and billions of views. Frag grenades. We are at the cemetery. There's probably ghouls here, but I don't know. So you think that carrot flower, flower. You would think that there will be more of a a platform for like a whole bunch of people, I guess. You would think that like more people would start creating and stuff like that. But that's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. I just think that there's a wait. Did that come from you? You would think that more people would actually got him. You would think that more people would actually I need this for antiseptic and stuff like that. I don't think I came from this way, so we are on our way. I am addicted right now to something. To Jet, I think. But there are a lot of reasons why I think that whenever there's a big like breakthrough on something, like there's a big whenever someone starts to invest their money wisely, I guess, and into something that could be, I guess, positive for the entire.
Trade?
Sure. Let's take a look.
Let's see here. 211 caps. Bone saw. Let's see if you have any cool items. Giddy up buttercup body. Glass bowl. Gold-plated flip lighter. Lux brew coffee pot. Magnifying glass. Rat poison. Ceramic. Wood. Steel. Suppressed advanced 10mm. Round, 10-pound weight. I wonder what that would do. I gotta get some freaking blueprints, man. I gotta go start looking for some stuff. So, I think I'm on the right path. Wait. I know what I'm doing. I know this is the part where the Assaultron comes from. So you know what? I'm gonna go there and see if I can beat the shit out of him now. While I'm on that way, I'm gonna go see if I can. Yes, this is where the Assaultron is, and see if I can beat the shit out of him with this thing. It's probably badass, but it might take a couple hits to take him down. A few hits to take him down.
Be on the lookout for thieves, trespassers, and communists!
Welcome to the General Atomics Galleria. You must be our new supervisor.
Yes. That's right.
Splendid. Well, let me be the first to welcome you to your new assignment. Once you've had a chance to get settled in, you should report to the director. His office is located in the statue in the center of the plaza. The Galleria is currently closed to the public. The staff and employees are permitted on the ground, of course. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to assist.
Oh my god, it smells like cabbage.
Why is the Galleria closed?
I'm sorry, but due to pending litigation, I am unable to comment. Please direct your inquiries to the General Atomics Legal Affairs Division.
What is this place?
The General Atomics Galleria is the shopping center of tomorrow today. Our wide array of stores are staffed entirely by the General Atomics line of robots, showcasing the reliability and versatility of a robotic workforce. Come in and experience the General Atomics difference.
Who's the director?
General Atomics' patented Director Management System, DMS, is responsible for coordinating the actions of the robots here at the Galleria. The Director allows the Galleria to operate autonomously without the need for human intervention.
That's all.
Very well. Enjoy your visit.
All employees, report suspicious behavior to the director immediately.
I think I'm gonna have to fight all these robots. I think that was one of the things that I had to do.
Any deviation from standard operating procedures must be authorized by the director.
Howdy there. Come on in. Welcome to Slocum's Joe. Can I set you up with a nice hot cup of coffee? On the house.
Sure.
Coming right up. Here at Slocum's Joe, all of our coffee is heated to a perfect 200 degrees Fahrenheit. You might want to
200,
stand
100,
back.
100 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh shit. Yeah, I sucked. As soon as I did anything, yeah. 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That was a mistake. Should have just tried to make flamer fuel. Alright, so let's come up with a topic. But yeah, the portable age is kind of upon us right now. And it's not going to be like punk something 2077, but it's going to be close because there are so many different kinds of people that have decided to call America and a whole bunch of different countries home, and so people have to realize that they have to take responsibility for those people, and hopefully there's a realization of like maybe there's enough internet for everyone, you know? Like there are certain deals that the FCC was overriding, and with every sort of thinking that and that's the reason why I think that they lied. Basically, they would lie to people about throttling stuff because they can throttle it all they want to. Basically, if they're your internet signal all they want to, if it's a utility. Now, granted, it's a needed thing, but in order for a lot of people to be able to take control of their economies and control of their inner economies, and realizing the fact that if you don't have something to offer, I guess, if you don't have something to offer the internet, it's like if you don't have something to offer the internet as far as a country goes, the country just says we're gonna piggyback on this signal constantly, all the time. You have to realize that eventually they're gonna have to invest in their own satellites. And their own satellites and their own servers and their own other things like that. So that's kind of the reason why I think the whole FCC, the whole free market stuff or whatever, or the free internet, the utility of internet basically kind of came to be. But I really think that if people don't see this kind of like the silver lining of this happening, is countries are going to finally have to take responsibility for the people that are actually like there. Like there have been laws against people like going out and saying a bunch of different stuff about their country and saying actual things, or to basically silence people basically for kind of decades and like a millennia basically. Like there's been plenty of silencing when it comes to things like that, and what people refuse to believe is that if people don't invest, if the governments don't invest in something and give it to the people, then they won't have people to govern. Like they won't. Like it's not a thing that happens, you know? It's like you want to so badly sometimes go into a finite disposition, saying that that your government will be there for you whenever things fall through, or if things fall through, or when things fall through for some governments. But that's the problem with a bunch of people who don't realize that if you don't stockpile resources and different things like that, you're not gonna survive for the decade that the shit hits the fan. Like, because and it's like there's a reasoning behind people saying that if you didn't stockpile, if you distributed it evenly, then it wouldn't hit the fan. It's like that's not technically true, because there are, let's see, I'm not just talking about Russia or anything like that. I'm talking about governments that seem to want to believe that we're not going to train them, or we're not going to tell them how to do certain things or anything like that. There are people that corner markets constantly. During the stock market exchange in the 1970s and 60s, from down to the 20s, all the way up to there were people who just bought up so many resources, and they would be the only ones that had them, and they would just literally dictate the entire market for almost anything that actually costed anything. There were people who literally were just assholes that just made an entire market completely and utterly cornered. And in order to protect against people that do that, you have to stockpile resources, because eventually what you don't realize is that once they have all the power of a market, basically robotics disposal ground. This is so cool, awesome. That's awesome. Any nuke? But that's what happens sometimes whenever, and that's and you say that, oh my God, capitalism. That's because of capitalism. No, it's actually because of sometimes governments that fall. It has a lot to do with governments that actually fall, and whenever those governments fall, like take Saudi Arabia for example. For a while, for a pretty long time, Israel and a bunch of different countries didn't even acknowledge it, and for that they used a certain number of things to be able to. Hot rodder, yeah boy, flame job. Sounds really excruciatingly painful. Stem pack, awesome. For a while there, a handful of individuals would actually dictate markets within the Middle Eastern government, basically. So kind of there's like an emerging market with stocks and bonds and different things like that. So basically, eventually what people are trying to work towards, I guess, what we're doing for peace, is eventually get each country or each place on the stock market. Each resource that actually comes from like a bunch of different places on the stock market, not within the country sometimes, and not just like taking away resources and saying that, oh, we put this on the stock market and we have to do different things. But what I'm actually trying to get at is within the own portable delivery log. Protectron's missing all limbs. 4 decompositions under your bots. 10 well below. 14 iBots. Vision sensors missing. 9 Protectrons missing all limbs. 27 defective mixer handies. Won't stop talking. Protectron's missing all limbs. Empty notes. Dylan, Mike. Tape. Sentry must only be operated in official personnel if redacted. Activate Sentry plot information. Solid Sentry Company, Combat Sentry. It's not responsible for any property damage, personal injury, or loss of life sustained while operating this prototype. Team member of redacted. Or accompanying prototype. I just want to actually destroy this this robot because I know it's going to try to kill me. Yeah, I can't even hit it if it's not activated. That's stupid. All right. And if I don't kill it, it's not cleared, so this really sucks. But yeah, a lot of times within governments, you'll find that there are certain individuals that kind of hold an amassing number of dollar signs, basically investing and reinvesting into certain markets and certain places and certain things that are conducive for a country to be able to mobilize itself, or to be able to do a bunch of different things, to be able to have a navy or to be able to have any sort of thing, basically. And they get their money back within the things that they actually do for other countries, like what Trump was talking about is actually already what happens with most countries. Like, we will do police work there, and eventually they will trade us a certain number of natural resources. And like, say for instance, what happens with the cell phones and everything like that. Weapons crafting bench. Let's see if I can upgrade my gamma wave emitter. Improved shot. Standard grip, reflex shot. I already got this beam focuser. Low sighted. See if I can get my super sledge. Heating coil. Stun pack. Circuitry. Aluminum adhesive. Gold rubber. I need aluminum. Okay, cool. Alright, Reba, I can get no muzzle. Okay. Alright. Serrated blade. I need steel. Okay. Alright, I need a lot of steel. Cigar box. But yeah, within a certain amount of countries, there are people that reinvest with a whole bunch of different things because they basically double their money within a certain number of years. So within those certain places and certain people that do those things, um, a lot of times, within that number of years, that they invest and reinvest and do a bunch of different things. If a government collapses, then what happens is that person themselves. What was? You cannot go that way. Awesome. Okay. All right. There is a reason why I can't go that way. Okay. There's probably something over here then. A lot of times whenever governments reinvest and do different things, basically to invest and help the morale of people and all that other different stuff, a platform comes out. Any kind of platform, anything that the military and or the non-military or private organizations have money through grants or anything like that to be able to build morale for people, or build morale with certain groups or certain social groups. I'm not saying that it's all, oh my god, it's all a lie. No, it's just like, it's not really a lie, technically speaking, if you just realize that it's more of a radiated thistle. Oh, cool. Is this this is the place that I cleared, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Alright, so as these governments come into what they need for different things, how they need for different things, I'm gonna see if I can pick up some stuff and then go back to trade some stuff. What you have to know about a certain government is through certain trades, governments start to create relationships, and whenever that person starts to create that relationship, or people, or like council, since it's like say for instance Snoop Dogg couldn't go. It was illegal, but technically not illegal, for him to move $40,000 in cash. It was technically illegal to do that because you have to be aware, and you have to have an armored service actually move that money for you. So basically, you're losing $10,000 with the fact of 24 rounds, stem pack, 7 pistol, 1 lots. There we go.
Got it.
So you have to understand that that these people become targets, and when these people become targets, they become targets because of the money that they have. It's not that, okay, the way that economies work, all right. It's not hard to say, but it's hard to it's hard to realize a goal in mind whenever you're let's see, it's not hard to realize a goal in mind. See, it's harder for me to say because I'm not actually familiar with a whole bunch of different stuff. But as a government basically that's nearing collapse starts to invest or reinvest money for policing, for anything like that, for any sort of stuff that they need, any sort of stuff that they want to be able to push or be able to guide a government into or another government into son of a bitch. Damn it. Drop some stuff. I'm gonna drop the stuff that I'm not using. So I'm gonna rifle, full both-sided calibrated pipe pistol. Drop that. Focus fire institute pistol, Fat Man, combat shotgun, bayoneted tuned hunting rifle. I'm good. Drop the machete. And drop one of the pipe pistols. Tactical 10mm pistol. And drop that one. And drop the pipe pistol. Alright, cool. So, aluminum. Got aluminum. Okay, let's see it. Oh, this is stupid. But basically, okay, people need to realize that that when governments start to shut down, certain people make profit no matter what. Okay. And this sounds or looks or maybe even seems like there is another force happening or another thing going on around behind the scenes. Most of the time, it's not the case, because people, even though they make a profit off of a failing government, it may seem like it's like, oh my God, it's terrible. Why are you? But people need to make a profit in order for other people to be able to fend for themselves. And also, like, granted, some of that money never goes to the proper places, but also too, I mean, people can do what they want with their money. You know, like it's like, let's see, it's an Americanistic value to actually, like, I don't see people sometimes that make that change in their life though. Like, it's not that it's the way that's worked for us for a very long time. And it's like, you can say that there's racism, but there's racism everywhere. I mean, you can say that there's racism in America, but you can also say that there's racism pretty much along the lines of everywhere. And it has a lot to do with people warring against each other. It has a lot to do with war, basically. Just war. Like a bunch of war. Like a bunch of people fighting each other for no goddamn reason, because they don't know each other. And when they do, they fight each other, and they get these stupid, dumb things that they decide to use as like certain things, like say for instance, like it's like, that's just dumb stuff, basically. Just idiotic things they do, or people do, that people like pick up on, or say something like that. That's the entire culture. I know, it's dumb. It's dumb. It's just really stupid. It's really stupid. I don't know. I don't get racism. It really never stuck with me. Like, even now, people just like, I don't get them. I don't get it. I don't get them. They're just, it just seems to me like, it just seems to me like most people don't realize that what they're saying, it comes out of their mouth, and they're just like saying they, because they heard someone else say it, basically. Now, I think. But back to governments. The way that what happens is as a person tries to create the government, a new government from the fallen government, or something like that. Like, say, take the Sheik, for example. Now, granted, there may have been people who were placed there to be able to either push one way or another, whether something was going one way or another. Oh shit! That was a mine. That was really messed up. Okay. But whether one person pushes in a certain direction to be able to make their new government or to create a new government, that's basically what the problem was with most things in what Saudi Arabia was, I guess. When you're on thin ice and you don't reinvest, I guess, into stuff. The reason why I think that most people don't reinvest is because it's like when you haven't amassed certain wealth, when you have amassed certain wealth, as far as a certain thing goes, there is wealth. There is being rich. Being rich is like making a lot of money, or being a billionaire or a millionaire or something like that. But understanding that being rich and being wealthy are two different things, because wealth has more to do with natural resources, and it has a lot to do with basically deals and respect and different people who you would do business with. Oh man, there's so many cool things over here, I think. But yeah, most of the time people don't even get the difference, I guess. But as you go into being wealthy and being rich at the same time, or something like that, you'll start to realize that the more it's not the more problems, I guess, but the more responsibility to a government to be able to run it, kind of, comes into play. People don't understand, I guess, that's some sort of... What the farts? And I think that if they really did understand it, like, they would understand the whole concept and the fact that it's so easy to actually get into. The fact for me that I kind of go back to every single time. The fact for me that I see in pretty much every single what's the word? Every single What? What? That's so cool. You know, get those items, man. Awesome. Alright, but I've noticed more or less that that when governments collapse, there's this fire sale that goes on, basically, to try to actually cover it up, I guess. It's a fire sale of sorts, because to be able to cover up the tracks of different people who have lots and lots of money that have invested their money into it, and their paper trail they desperately want to kind of cover up, I guess, for privacy reasons. So as this fire sale happens, or whatever it is that happens, that basically people wanted to get to information, but at first, but it's like, oh man, it's the reason why I don't get like protests and how they get violent and stuff like that. I don't get it, because I mean, like, you're saying your opinion. It's just if you want something to change now and not like. Are you fucking kidding me, dumb bastard? I'm gonna fast travel, so that's basically what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I've noticed that a lot of times in certain areas of getting to know a certain government, let's see what is that? I've noticed that a lot of times, whenever, because there's been plenty of governments that have fallen, there's a running gun, basically, kind of a smuggle, I guess, to get a certain assets out of a certain area, and I've noticed this a lot of times, but the more that I've noticed it, the more that I've noticed the way that Bitcoin and a whole bunch of different other currencies have shown up over the years. And eventually, I mean, actually, if you think about it, nobody's really talking about Bitcoin that much anymore. There's a bunch of stuff that's happening. It's just eventually, I think it's just going to become a regular currency. So, I'm about to sleep and I have my cool freaking shirt on. Oh, I have to sit up and stretch. Yeah. So as you start to realize certain things, I just start to realize that that there are certain people that do certain things for certain countries that are either about to fall or getting ready to fall, and there are people that want to make a profit off of something, and it's not technically illegal on America's terms, I guess. But in some places, they believe that you shouldn't profit off the margin of people's lives, I guess. I mean, you shouldn't be able to profit off of what people are doing. It sounds bad when you say like that, but when you realize that, okay, I'm going the right direction. When you realize the more you look up certain things in the past, that whenever there wasn't someone to be able to profit off of like a government collapse, like not like holding bets or anything like that, but seriously, like just making sure that you can run money through something to be able to figure out certain things. And in some cases they're heroes because they don't use it for actual personal gain, except for when they're dealing with certain governments, I guess. But also the bad thing about what I was saying is when it doesn't go right. The people who, it's lack of planning basically that I think.
Repeat, area not secure.
God damn it. I'm glad I auto-saved. It's a Saltron that's fucking up everybody, so I gotta frickin' murder them. So, and hopefully there's a cache of weapons, I think. I'm gonna have to use a bunch of fragmentation grenades and a bunch of other stuff too to be able to get some stuff together and All right, so basically, yeah. There are a lot of times where governments don't fall, and then people just keep running money through everything. Like, there are a lot of times when governments do fall. I mean, Syria's government is in disarray right now. You have to understand, it's really bad. Like, their government is just non-existent right now, and the fact that there are people that through war, I guess, they run guns to the people who need to get to safety, I guess. There are smugglers, basically, who basically do things that are sometimes illegal in other countries. But you have to understand this. Sometimes they're doing it for good. Like, most of the time, they're doing it for good. Like, it's basically, like, true, like, real shit. I'm not saying that there's real shit that goes on, like real shit, like fucked up shit that goes on. It's super fucked up. And I gotta bring out my inventory. Let's go to missile launcher. Awesome. I forgot to heal. Alright, okay. And I'm drinking Monster right now. It's nice and flat. But as these governments go through these horrible changes, you have to understand that there are so many factions of different people who've been waiting to be able to get up and be able to do different things. Like, say for instance in India, it kind of doesn't sit well with me that the fact that woman that got raped and murdered her captor or whatever. Murdered the dude that she and then there are a lot of people that think that we are like just, oh my god, we're so like they're, oh my gosh man, there are people that were just born in war, dude. They just believe that the punishment for everything is death, you know. It's just, there's so much shit going on. It's like they seem normal, and they're just like, oh my god, okay, I'm laughing at the same stuff you're laughing at. That means we know the same stuff. And then when shit gets real, or people like say some stuff like oh, have you ever done something blah 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 blah. I'm gonna run. Okay, he's coming. So we got missile launcher, and we're gonna use our Molotov cocktails. Wait, do you have Molotov cocktails again? He fucking murderized me. Gosh damn it. But yeah, that's basically what happens with most governments. They're just sitting there, they're waiting, and they become stagnant over a certain decade or a certain number of years. The people want change, and somehow they're not getting it. They become violent, and people become violent, and people become unrestful, and they don't realize it's hard, man. It's hard. There's so many exports and imports to be able to run a country, especially a country in the desert or on an island or anything like that. If they don't have their own imports and exports, if they don't have their own imports or their own exports, then it's hard to be able to maintain that economy. Like, it's so hard. It's so unbelievably hard. Like, there's salt, there's a bunch of different other things like that, but when people aren't getting the same nutrients or the vital nutrients, they basically just kind of run themselves dry. You know? It has a lot to do with nutrition, and a lot to do with basically daily diet. And it has a lot to do with the way that people actually actually put themselves into. Let's see, wait, I'm gonna get my Fat Man, and then I have 0 nukes for it. Awesome. I need a mini launcher. So, missile launcher, Molotov cocktails.
Scanners detecting sentient life. Level elevated.
Serpentine motions. Oh, you fucking bastard. Alright, I'm gonna go downstairs and get my Mountain Dew, because that's what I do. It's awesome. Also got my loot crate today. Yeah. I'm not gonna unbox it because I don't believe in unboxing videos. I just looked at those unboxing videos to basically like see what kind of box I wanted, and then got the one that I wanted. So damn. Whew. Alright, so let's see if we can take this fucker out. See if I can. Wait. Actually, let's see how much a missile actually does on him first. So, missile launcher. Molotov cocktail. I'm gonna use some cars to get in front of me and get some friggin' distance from this dude, I think. Got him. Okay, get some aid. Get the cherry, quantum. Got him. Now I can just take out the other one. Green cell. Use aluminum for awesome. Come on, dog meat, let's go. Let's do this. And hopefully we can find a stash of weapons. Mr. Gutsy. He's probably waiting. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna do this. Quick saving. There we go. Where is he? Shit! He is trying to... He's gonna explode. Awesome. I knew it. Because there's a nuclear reactor. Let me see where his body is. Okay, time to quick save again. All right, awesome. Is that attach a fusion cell, power relay coil, and steel? Yes. Be able to do some robotics thing, auto saving. But yeah, basically, I think that when it comes down to it, most governments don't see people as a as a commodity until a certain number of shit. 8 rats. I gotta get a rat away. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, so time to go to the freaking thing. I think a lot of times in governments, there are a lot of unanswered questions sometimes whenever things happen to do stuff. Things happen to happen under the nose of certain people, and sometimes there's just no explaining it. You know, like can't just. I mean, but I guess that's the point. Is through answers, I guess, you get knowledge, and knowledge you get to be able to get certain stuff. But it's just like you're not going to find that out by asking someone else who doesn't know. Like usually that's the reason why. Like, I mean, that's the reason why even the reason why cops withhold details about certain things. Like in every country, and I know this for a fact. They withhold evidence from different presses to be able to go over it thoroughly without not prying eyes or anything like that. Okay, I'm gonna take out my missile launcher and I'm gonna go get my Fiery Institute pistol. There we go. There's got to be an armory in here. It's an armory box. Okay. But also too, it's illegal to use an economy as your own public. What's the word? Use an economy as your own public bank. To say that that an economy is just right for the taking and you're not able to, and no one else is able to do the same thing because of the loopholes into which you used in order to be able to make sure that that thing was to be able to happen for you and no one else. Oh my god, they're really persistent and able to do certain things. I'm gonna drink my drink, and this broadcast is not brought to you by Mountain Dew because it's delicious, but I need to drink water with it most of the time. Oh. Sugar responsibly. I'll just use my missile launcher, but I'll use my fiery auto pistol. But I'm gonna take my missile launcher out next because got him. Silver pocket watch. Most of the time, if you don't see what a certain part of this world has for you, I guess. Cap stash. That's what I didn't see before. Research test 2. Research test 2. But I think the biggest reason that you need to realize something is eventually I think what it is like, oh man, it's just there's a lot of ideas that go into governments, and those ideas are backed by lots and lots of dollars and gold and a whole bunch of different stuff. So if you're just trying to make a buck out there, and you're like, oh well, I gotta fight this huge conglomerate because they don't see the people as people anymore. It's like, no, the statistics department doesn't see the people as people. They see the people as numbers. But the big bosses have to realize that eventually people are gonna be people and not numbers. That's what they plan for. That's basically, it's like, but it's racist. It's like, how is it racist? Because there's only a certain amount of people that are actually doing certain stuff, and they're not exactly all from different places. It's like, yeah, your movie version of what a business should be like. And I think the reason why people don't realize that it may have to do with a lot more of it may have to do a lot more with and also too, I mean, you have to realize that the more you think about justice for wronged individuals, the less time you have to think about oh, fucking shit. But I mean, I get what people are trying to say is that the only people that have been given the opportunities to be able to work for themselves or for a different company, to be able to have the confidence to be on their game all the time and constantly be able to perform in situations that call for it, are mostly and majority of white people. I think that in most cases is untrue, because there are a lot of things that both races and both people come up with that are in some cases a racial divide, I guess, isn't needed, I guess. I think the real reason why people kind of come up with stress, and I think the stressful situations that people come up with, are, a lot of people would say it's because they're shortcomings, but I would say it would have a lot to do with I would say it has a lot to do with believing in yourself. It has a lot to do with positive outlooks, and it has a lot to do with the way that people perceive what is. Because when people use that sort of excuse in any situation, they're seen as ignorant. They're seen as, oh my God, this person doesn't know business, so he's going to use that thing to be able to prove the fact that he's better at business than someone else. But what you're asking is someone to change an economy that you don't even know is based around race. And that has a lot to do with the way that governments actually run. Because there are a lot of different, I think, a lot of different racial cues in the EU. Just waiting in the water, waiting to die. A lot of different cues for that people actually use to say that there is some sort of racial divide. But when in actuality, the people only make that because of the fact that what they don't know is they can say there's a racial divide, but what they don't know is a lot of people in certain other countries got used and abused. Like, they got used and abused from different things. They're saying there were war criminals and a bunch of different people saying that there were something else, or saying
no way
that
I could pick this.
Or just saying that there are a lot of different people who have actually, and I think that it speaks to someone's integrity when they not only see past that, but in actuality try to change it with positive outlooks. I think that it speaks to someone's integrity when they choose to see past what people are about to see about them when they see them in their first impressions. Because first impressions only last, what's the word? 20 minutes. They can make a mark on someone's behavior, or someone's what's the word? They can make a mark on someone's permanent record, but only if that behavior is seen after and after and after. A lot of times when people don't realize that People don't realize that the true nature of someone, as far as a stressful situation comes down to, whatever it comes down to, is seen when they're having their worst day. Oh shit. Oh, I got shot at and I died. Awesome. But as soon as you see a person who's having their worst day, or whatever day they're having, whether they're being blamed for something they didn't steal in a store, or whether someone is saying that they're not supposed to be able to be the star of a football team because of the color of their skin, or because, oh, you're just too old and we're not gonna back you because you might hurt yourself again, or something like that. There's that stuff. And I think it speaks to some people's integrity when it comes down to it. When they don't have your back, or when they don't have your thing, it's up to you whether to take that and say, I've had enough. Because the bigger man always makes more money. No matter what people say about him during the day, no matter how many times people tell him that he's not going to make it, or he's not going to do the things that he needs to do in order to be able to make sure that he can accomplish something in his life. The more you think about it, the bigger man always makes more money. Because the person who's the bigger man isn't waiting on someone to make sure that he's validated. The bigger man isn't waiting for someone to make sure that he can do the things that he needs to do in order for someone else to feel sort of inspired by him. The bigger man always makes more money because no matter what they say about him, no matter how they say it about him, their reputation comes and goes. But it speaks truly to someone's demeanor when not only are they unshaken in the face of fear and doubt and even violence. Oh shit. But as they're unshaken, they don't see the situation to, even though it started with some sort of haywireness or messed upness, that it has to end that way. The bigger man always sees every option. No matter what it is, no matter if people calling him pussy, no matter if people calling him fucked up or telling him he's stupid or telling him that he doesn't deserve anything because he's a dumbass. Understandably so. What people don't realize about themselves is what they really don't know what they really never knew is that those are the people who basically are the ones that kind of bring happiness to others, whether they see it or not, whether they see the person who brings it there or not. Okay. I've seen and witnessed a lot of different stupid shit, I guess, and I think that's the reason why I kind of left, because I realized that it not only oh cool Evans. And that has a lot to do with the integrity of the way your government stands, or the way your government will stand. Does it stand for all this shit that all these people constantly say? Does it stand for all the stuff that people push around or try to move, but even though they're not doing anything but making themselves look like idiots? And it doesn't speak to someone's integrity that even though they feel the pull to be able to see change inside of a government, or inside of a government's responses or anything like that, realize that even though the response is probably that, like, it's probably just okay, that sounds like a good idea. It's moreover, people want the reaction out of someone to be able to say to themselves that they changed something. That's what I've seen so far as protests go. Oh, that's what I've seen so far as people trying so hard to make someone else feel bad about something that they haven't done, that neither anyone has done or no one has done, that they don't know that if they push a little bit harder in the government scene, or if they push a little bit harder to say that they wanted to pass this bill, or pass our stupid thing, or whatever, or anything like that, or a stupid saying, or just saying that they want to change something. They go to City Hall, change something, get in a bunch of signatures. Don't just walk. Don't just do that. Don't just say that things need to change and then go back into your hole and then expect other people to speak for you whenever that paper comes around and no one knows what it's about, because you didn't associate those terms with those things. You just said an amazing saying and then like, it's just, to see with eyes unclouded by hate is to realize the bigger meaning of what needs to be done. To realize that things were made so that peace and order can be maintained, rather than realizing that if one person just wants to show off and say that they've done something amazing with their life and they want to show someone else and have them be surprised about it, it's like that. It's basically like that. Like, that's basically the reason why I kind of don't protest as much as people actually think that people should. Like, but also too, realizing that the more you protest, the more you push towards some sort of never-ending goal that somehow makes you feel like you're better off. Like, it just, to me, feels like, the bigger message is it's an endurance thing, you know? It's like whoever stands and whoever is there at the end of something is the one who makes the change. The people who are there at the end to be able to see something through. To be able to see a law through, or to be able to see something, to be able to see a new budget for New Orleans, or a new budget for another city that basically just didn't have a budget to begin with. To be able to see that, to be able to see that that a situation can see the light of day, like that if something's happening and someone doesn't see it, they need to see it in shocking, sometimes, detail, to be able to realize that something's going on. And it may be insensitive for people to watch sometimes, but in some ways that needs to get out there sometimes, because people need to understand that people are just acting irrationally sometimes, because they don't know what to do, they don't know how to do it, so they just act out their own favorite fantasies of what something would happen like. So that's how a kid gets a pole thrown through his fucking head and literally writhed around in fucking, and basically agony, and gets his entire right side of his head just fucking collapsed in on itself and dies. That's how people, no laws for people to actually follow when they're going down a long stretch of road, and when they see a hitchhiker they just go pass right on by instead of giving water or having water on them. Like, that's how that shit happens. Or like when there's no one out around for miles and you're hiking, and somehow they don't have like little pit stops or little areas where you can sit down and enjoy like certain things that have repellents against different animals on, and that's how that shit happens. Like, people get attacked by bears and stuff like that, and they have to realize that they have to update it every single year. Or when there's no animal control, there's no poison control, there's no, I mean, just realize it's like we live on order. Like, we thrive on order. That's basically the way that we survive. And the ways that certain governments kind of just like Jedi mind trick their way out of a decent laws or decent bills, and then say that somehow oh my god, they're having so much and they're so good at what they do. It's just like, yeah, we invested. Like, my dad, my mom, my grandfather invested in a country that was doing pretty well for itself back in the 70s and 60s and 50s. No matter what kind of fucked up shit was happening there. Because they knew that eventually people would stop. And people would just be like, hey, I can't do this anymore. You know? The revolution happens whenever you grow up. The freaking all the pepper spray sit-ins and all that shit. You're just like, sometimes you can't do it, but people will suffer. You know what? People suffer all the time. I'm sure there's an entire race, an entire culture, an entire place in another part of the universe where people are just starving to death and constantly starving, just all the time, that we haven't found yet. And there's probably a race of people who've like fucking just mastered everything, and they realize that education is universal. To be able to have universal Medicare or Medicaid or anything like that, we need universal education. We need to study. We need to open books and freaking read them, and just understand that if public opinion gets inside of books all the time, then that's how you come up with a bronze fucking Statue of Liberty. Like, that shit happens. It's a good thing I studied as a child, or else I would have never known. And the more you look at it, like, education is a serious thing that needs to happen. People need to stop their opinions about stuff and then start just stating the facts. They can say whatever their opinions is with it, but after it, or save that for an opinion poll. Save that for what they think. Just realize that other people have different opinions about it, and try to accept that or tolerate it at the least. And who cares if it's called the Museum of Tolerance? Every person has to accept something at some point or other, like dominion, I guess, and realize that Starbucks. Duct tape. Just realize that, like, man, like, governments are falling right now. Like, they're falling. They're done. And entire countries are left in shambles. And people want to say that there's some sort of thing that they need to get rid of or do something with, because they just sometimes have problems with themselves. That's why knowing yourself is so important, and really therapy is key to being able to understand yourself and everything. And I have to say that in some cases I just don't know, but there are so many real reasons to be able to there are so many real reasons for you to be able to know yourself in a way that just, it needs to happen. You need to know what's going on inside your head. You need to understand what thoughts are dictating what, and what things are dictating the things that you really, really want to be able to create inside of your mind, or just thoughts to make you feel comfortable. I mean, it needs to happen. Like, I've seen what people do to be able to make themselves like better people, or better like there are the biggest situations to be able to get through, and in order to have that, you have to be mentally stable and mentally sound in most cases. Just and not just in a vacuum, but beside yourself, but with other people. Realize that. Like, realize that if you're not ready for social situations, sometimes just don't. Just don't. I can say that I'm ready for a bunch of different stuff. I can say that I'm ready for people to be able to be around, but at first I have to find someone that's able to hold information and maybe tell their parents or their friends, but not to blast it on Facebook or just expect that it's going to make someone try harder because they're, I don't know. I just don't get people sometimes. Shot him right between them. And you can't just... And you can't just be, like... You have to be ready for situations, man. Like, most of those people have nothing to lose. Like, as far as, like, things go, they just consider things to be completely and utterly false, like what they've heard or what they've seen. And I get so worried sometimes. Damn it. Got him. The fuck was that? And it has everything to do with how people invest in governments and people themselves. Like, and I'm not saying that's like West or East or anything like that. Just realize we were inspired by so many other different cultures. And people who are desperate for change. And I'm saying that this is like the biggest thing. I want people to start investing, you know? I wish people would start investing on a lot of different things, on a lot of different occasions. Because it gets hard. It gets really, really hard to be able to see a different thing out there. Like, a different like way, you know? Like, this is basically what happens when it's basically Syria right now. except for like the handheld computers and all that other different stuff. But there are handheld computers probably at some point. And just realize, man, shit could get out of whack really easily. You gotta be prepared. You gotta be say that you're not gonna go insane when things get out of whack or things go crazy. Just realize that, man. And I have to say that, like, I don't lose my mind very easily. Like, it would take a lot for me to lose my mind. Like, for me to, like, you know. But, you know, it's like, hey, there are people out there and there aren't people out there, you know, at the same time. I died. Awesome. Woo! This picture of Spike. A lot of movies were inspired me to be able to have not iron will or anything like that, but just to be stubborn, because that's what it is. It's like be able to say no, that no, you're wrong about my situation, and be able to say, you know what, just realize it, realize you're wrong, and but also to realize that eventually, when they come to a head, when you realize that the only thing you've mastered is the art of deception. The art of basically telling yourself that you're ready for something when you're actually not. The art of saying that you can do certain motions and certain things without actually practicing them. The way you can say that you've done something, but in actuality, you did the bare minimum. You know? People can say they've done what they think they've done, but they can say they've mastered pretty much every. They can say they're bilingual, trilingual, quadrilingual, other different stuff like that. They can say they've been to so many different places and things and stuff like that, but eventually they're going to have to realize that, like, we are creatures of we're stupid. We're stupid creatures. We're stupid. Like, we're dumb. Comparative to a bunch of different things. We are dumb. Like, we're just dumb. Like, you have to accept it. That's the reason why I like the whole, like, it's an what is it? It's like the ode to absurdity, because no matter how many times you practice something, no matter how many times you do something that makes sense, an objectivity to do something that doesn't make sense goes through your mind as well. To remain actually sane and not go completely bonkers and set your house on fire and then kill yourself afterwards after you get a guilty verdict on you for arson. You have to do something else. Like, you can't just sit around and do nothing. You You have to think about something else. You have to see some other possibility, some other place, some other thing, to be able to make your own creative mind, your own imagination, to be able to give it some sort of a holding, basically, to be able to realize a goal, basically, to be able to have confidence to realize some goal, that you'll be able to do something amazing one day, or be able to accomplish something that no one else has accomplished. And that's kind of, I think, the reason why people sort of lose their minds sometimes. Like, it's the reason why I think that people don't realize their goals. It has a lot to do with the way that we treat ourselves and each other, and I think that it has a lot to do with the way that people don't see the existence of something out there. They see the existence of their own got it. Amazing. They don't see the existence of a new goal. They don't see the existence of everything. They see their logical mind, and then they use imaginative details to be able to fill in the blanks. But understandably so, to be able to think or believe that something out there is completely and utterly without our sight, or without our consciousness, or without our beliefs, or even our structure, can make you open to details that aren't exactly the norm, or open to things that wouldn't exactly be your opinion. And you can say that it's, oh, you're taking opinions from people who are better than you. It's like, no. It's like you're realizing another person's way of thinking. And by understanding and appreciating those opinions, you'll start to be more considerate and more compassionate when it comes to a different person's point of view. To say or see that a person not only is going through some sort of pain or progress through pain, but you'll start to realize that by letting themselves open up to you, or to say that you open up at all, what you don't realize is by realizing that, or by seeing that that goal realized, or that situation that you're in seen, you start to realize that there are not bigger forces at work or any other thing like that, but you start to see the concept of what other people are actually getting at sometimes when they say about their God or their anything. They're basically just talking about the universal rules of things, or the universal their universal goal, basically. And to think sometimes that as that goal starts to change and move, and as your goal starts to realize as your eyes and your mind start to realize certain epiphanies, you start to realize that as those goals start to change and move, you'll start to realize that are actually come into play, things come into play that you'll be able to react to on a timely basis, or in a timely manner. Like, you'll have faster reflexes, or faster anything. If you're like a football player, you'll have the ability to move your feet faster, or something like that, or you'll realize that your imagination is the part of your mind that is sometimes the most important, because your logical mind can tell you everything is a thing, but your imaginative mind can see something that normally people wouldn't see, or would see what other people would think that isn't there. All right, here we go. We are gonna use the missile launcher. We have 7 left. But you can see something that's not people wouldn't actually notice. Like combat armor chest piece, that's cool. Combat armor helmet, leading reinforced combat armor left leg, combat armor left arm, light arm, baseball cap, long guns, sunglasses. Okay, we're good. We're gonna get rid of the apparel that we have. And give it a skull bandana. Combat armor right leg, combat armor right arm, left arm, helmet, and combat armor chest piece. There we go. Is that a dude? It's a dude. But yeah, realizing that is what the reason why people actually invest in certain ideas. They invest in certain people's phones or certain people's things, and then eventually people start making the connections to be able to make something amazing, like a hologram that you can experience and actually like interact with in real time, or ceramic bowl. Or realization of fact whenever someone comes up with a goal refining epiphany, or like get rid of those. Teapot, teddy bear, toothbrush, toothpaste, and 2-ball and table knife. Lightweight painted metal right arm. Just realizing that, okay. Yeah, what's up? Huh? Huh?
Shorts.
Okay.
If you had any.
I got my loot crate.
What'd you get?
I got 2 shirts. It's fun.
Did you get bottom shorts? No, let me see. What'd you get?
Yeah. Got the Ant-Man and the Wasp t-shirts. So, it's a great time. It's Ant-Man. The Wasp.
That's tight as fuck.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty tight. We got Adventure Time, friggin' dudes, and stuff. Hey, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But yeah,
see? Shorts.
realizing that those are all the ideas that people actually invest in. And if they don't see a future in this country, then eventually it'll start to not exist like Syria, you know? Freaking, and even Saudi Arabia just
Right.
gone. So just realize that, like, how that goes. Trending in New Orleans. Right, what are you doing, Bo? Quit chewing stuff in my room. But I guess, you'll have to realize it one day or another. Eventually you just don't know enough, you know? Everyone's gonna have to realize that, because, so... Just realize that. Eventually, you don't know enough. Ooh, there's a place. Get rid of this Wonder Glue, Surgical Tray, silver, 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 silver. Get rid of handcuffs, desk fan, pistol of 40 cancer, Volcane hammer, Albraxer cleaner. It's better to know what you're missing, to know yourself what you're missing. It's better to know yourself what you're missing and be happy than to know what you have and hate it. You know? So wake. It's probably A. S, A and S. Not the S.
Nice.
Got it. Alright, I think I'm an hour 55 minutes. I'm okay. So I'm gonna stop here. And realize shit goes down like every day in some of those places that I just mentioned. And it's serious. Like, it's stuff that it puts everything in perspective for me. Like, it lets me know that one day people could really, really have a problem with what anything in this government stands for. But also too, People don't see the amount of people that actually work in some places like that. They don't see the amount of stuff that people actually put into. They don't see the respect and the admiration they have for different people, and they don't see the diversity. And when you don't see it, it's like, oh my God, it didn't happen. But no one's a fucking referee in wrestling. Goddammit, it does happen all the time. So just realize that shit, okay? Like, it does. And if you find out that one day you become a role model and you don't want it, realize you're a role model no matter what. For the people you love, for the people you care about, for the people who care about you. You are a person that people want to be like, in most cases. And if you just floss and ball, or just, if you just tell people what you have and that's what people think they're supposed to get, then realize that makes you a pawn. It makes you a pawn in someone else's game. Someone else's market. Makes you a consumer, but that's just it. A consumer and a profit margin in some cases. Become your own profit margin. Make your own website. Do it, because there's no telling how much or how little you could become, or how famous you could become, or how amazing you could become, or how much money you could make. Because when you make your own ad revenues, when you do your own ad revenues and become a better thing for yourself instead of somebody else, you'll have to do less work. You'll do less work, and it'll be amazing and freeing. And basically, you won't have to work another hard day in your entire life. Granted, I'm on disability, so I don't have to work another day, but I will. But realize that before any of that stuff happens, before any of those options feel like they're completely and utterly out of reach, whenever those people think that, oh my God, if you do this, then you'll be investing in this and not this and this and this and this and this, and you should be saving your money instead of spending it on everything. But just realize, I bought a camera. It was fun. And I mean, it's hopefully inspires at least one person to be able to do it, and they'll become famous, and then, or something like that. Anything. Just realize that. It's fun. We go to the internal memo. Awesome. The robots aren't powered down, so I'm gonna have to go. Okay. All right.
Approximately 70% information update. Approximately 97% going by now was managed. Now on the scene 28.
Okay, I can go around him. Give him deviled eggs. Oh, it's an instructor. Okay, cool. They're not evil. Awesome. They're not evil. Yay. Awesome.
Nice.
alright, this is the way it needs to be.
Good day to you.
Just realize that, man, you're only as good as how positive you really want to be about the situation that you're in. You're only as good as your attitude towards other people, even though their attitudes might not be the best towards yours. Just realize that it doesn't matter. Like, don't get mad at people. I get mad at people. I'm not the best person. So, I mean, it doesn't give me an excuse to actually say anything. But it gives me an excuse to say when someone's doing something wrong and they need to realize that not only should they be doing something for other people, but they should be focusing on what they actually want to focus on. You know? Instead of doing pieces that you think are okay and think are for views or whatever, just focus on the stories that really speak to you. Like, that really make you feel like you're better off. Like, just focus on that, and don't focus on the money, because the more you chase it, the more it'll engulf your entire life and make you feel like you're nothing. It'll make you feel like you're just a pawn in someone else's little tiny game that they're playing on you. And the more you feed into it, the more you'll know that it's like it's heavy. It's fucking heavy, and it's someone else's game. Everyone that looks like they know what they're talking about sometimes just doesn't know a goddamn thing about what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. They play everything by ear because they think that they know what they're doing, and they get paid thousands and thousands and millions of dollars. But that's how easily it can go away, because it's just the more you start playing yourself, the more you start acting like you know what you're talking about, the more people will effectively want to talk to you about something. But I don't say that I know what I'm talking about. I don't say that I know the facts, and that's the way that I like it. Because I know that some of my stuff can be disputed. I know that everything that I say can be completely disputed. I know all the stuff that I can say that can be completely disputed. And if everyone's looking for a handout, or everyone's looking for some sort of thing, then what am I going to do for myself? You know? If everyone's looking to be able to help you, be able to do something for yourself, then that's the groups you need to get into. And I have yet to actually even notice those types of people. So it's just a hard right into what I actually want to do for myself, and how I actually want to do something for myself. Where I want to go in my life, and where I want to be with myself. And it's not going to be an arduous journey of self epiphanies or self exploration, but no, it's an exploration and out into the world. And I'm going to try to find something that speaks to my nature. Something that speaks to what I actually want for myself. Because I've been actually finding things and noticing that things have been clicking, and I've been able to figure out what kind of career that I want to follow. What kind of thing that I want to do. And what will actually promote me to help myself get something in somewhere where I won't be constantly on the pay docket of someone else's company. And that's where I'm at right now. And that's where I think that people should be able to realize that if they don't realize that the pressure is hard, the pressure is on, and there are plenty of critics and plenty of people who say that you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, your mic's not on, who cares, right? I don't do everything completely and utterly professionally, but the things that I do really well, I do really well. I mean, I do really well. Like, I'm pretty well versed in stuff like that, and art and a bunch of different other things. I mean, and that's what I want. That's what I want for myself, and no one's gonna stop me to be able to do something positive for myself. And if I really wanted to do that, then there's got to be a bigger or a better way, you know? The more I see the goal that I want, the more I get excited, and the more I'm able to be able to fend for myself in a world that constantly wants me to be in the customer service industry. And the more I see it, the more I understand that if I'm able to pull this off and be able to make this happen for myself, then there's nowhere that I can't go. Like, there's nowhere positive that I can't go. So, what are you doing?
Lighter.
Yes, your lighter. Leslie stole it, so I stole it back from her. Can I see it?
Find your lighters, man.
I don't know where my lighter is. With that, I'm at 2 hours and 7 minutes. Have a good day, and you are your own one-person bomb squad. You can diffuse your situations. You can diffuse your situations better than anyone else can. Just sometimes by staying, sometimes by going, sometimes by telling the truth. It depends on the situation. I'm not giving legal advice, so understand that. Have a good day and be confident and be self-aware, because most of the time people who lose awareness. You shut up, Jacob. Have a good day and be yourself.